I am Dani Nicole, and I am your host of the Book Talk Author Visibility Podcast. And on tonight's episode, we will be talking to Jacquiline Cox. She will be sharing with us about her book. So, without further ado, Jacquiline is going to tell us who she is, where she's from, and the book she will be talking about today.
Hello, my name is Dr. Jacquiline Cox. I am from Chicago. I'm a publisher for Listen Linda Publishing. I am a award-winning author, 26-time best-selling author, brand strategist, editor-in-chief of Listen Linda International Magazine, a marketing consultant, and former Miss Illinois USA 2025, as well as the CEO and founder of Linda Listens Foundation, Inc., which is a nonprofit that helps children and women at risk heal and get therapy through storytelling. So that is who I am in a nutshell. And the book that we are going to be discussing today is an upcoming anthology that I'm working on, that I'm still recruiting for, called Women of the Waiting Room, Volume 3, Survivor's Remorse, The Cost of Becoming. So that's what we'll be discussing today.
Sounds good. Thank you for sharing that. So, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, I am a woman of faith. I'm a woman of God. I really don't like using that word Christian too much these days because it's watered down, child. They don't water that word on down. But I am a woman of God. Everything that I do is faith-based. The magazine, the publishing company, the nonprofit, everything is faith-based. I am a Christian, and I started this series for the anthology and devotional and poetic ministry, Women of the Waiting Room, 2.5 years ago. And it was a major success. It basically invites women to come in who are in their waiting season of their life or have been through a waiting season of their life, and transition from being of the world and becoming closer with God. And a lot of times they come in and they speak about things that they have endured and what they've overcome and how God has helped them overcome those obstacles in their life. And so what inspired me to write it, to be honest with you, I just finished an anthology, my first anthology, with someone else, another visionary. So I wanted to create a safe space for women to come in and not feel ashamed about their story, not have their story weaponized against them, and really try to help and heal women to get through times in their lives, right? With the right coaching, with the right circle, and just, find a way for women to work together and really become a sisterhood. And that's really what Women of the Waiting Room is about. We did the anthology and the devotional for volume 1, which was international and domestic bestsellers on Amazon in all 3 categories. And then we came out with Women of the Waiting Room 2, Surgery for Your Soul, volume 2. And we did a anthology, a devotional, and a poetic ministry. It was a total of over 50 women to participate in that one. The one before that was over 30 women. So with this one, Survivor's Remorse, we're more so speaking about having guilt of and of losing someone, whether they passed away, whether we had to walk away, whether they walked away, losing, the old version of ourselves, whatever it is that we lost. What does that look like when we are trying to become who God created us to be, right? So that's why it's called Survivor's Remorse, The Cost of the Becoming. And I think that it's going to be a phenomenal anthology and devotional. And I cannot wait to start reading some of the ladies' chapters in this anthology.
That sounds very exciting. It sounds like it's been a good way to bring women out to speak their truth about what's going on in their lives. Who is the book for? I know the anthology is women. Is there a category of women like moms, or is it domestic violence, or is it
what? It's all different types of women. I don't like to leave anyone out per se. I've had women to join the anthology between the ages of 18 and 85. This is not, I don't really, how some people have a target audience and they just want to, I feel like, my assignment is for all women of all ages and all backgrounds. And I usually target women of color, but I've also had Caucasian women. I've had all different types of women to come in from all over the world, not just America. You know, I had some women in Africa, some women in the UK, some women in the Caribbean, some women from Haiti, right? I feel like when we all come together, we share a common we're able to connect with each other on different levels. And also, I don't want to just put one person in a box because I feel like we all need healing in some type of way. We've all been through things. So maybe, you know, Mary's story, who's pushing 80, might help me in a way, as I'm thinking I'm the only person who's been through something, or my story may help another young lady who's 18 right now, who's going through some things that I'm writing about. So I try to make sure that as long as it fits and it aligns with what the brand is about, then that's who I choose to participate. You know, as long as there's no profanity, no cussing, no vulgar language, and it sticks to and it aligns with the brand, which is faith based, I let whoever tell their story.
Okay. So, what was the hardest part of writing or starting the anthology? You said this is volume three. So,
Yes.
were there challenges in the beginning?
You know what? I won't say it was challenges, but I will say it's learning experiences, right? It's starting off, especially with the heart that I have. In the beginning, I wasn't publishing, I was just the visionary, right? And it wasn't hard working with the publisher that did the first two. It was actually really smooth as far as me and her, but it was more so making sure people understood that it was still my project. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And being respected. And as a publisher now, and as a experienced visionary, because this is not my only anthology, I've done 3 or 4 other different ones, right? I think with experience, you understand how to price your anthologies. I really want you to understand every woman who has come into this anthology, whether I feel they gave me some problems or not, or some challenges or some difficulties or not. I really love these women. I really appreciate them for being vulnerable and telling their story. So no, I won't even say that. I will say just learning the experience on how to market, how to promote, how to discern. Right, I've learned a lot on how to discern when dealing with this. Also, the main challenge I will say is reading the stories, because a lot of times you carry that story with you, right? To this day, I carry The Coldest Winter Ever, and that wasn't even my story, right? It mimicked a lot of the things that I went through, but reading stuff like that and you carry that. So imagine hundreds of women that I've worked with, and I'm reading their stories, and they are deep, and they are, it's a cinematic read. All of them are cinematic reads. So it's like you watching a movie as you're reading each one of these chapters, right? So to feel like you right there in the scene with them when things are happening, a lot of times if you are not a praying woman or you are not in therapy, you're gonna need it, because it's triggering. It's triggering. So I would have to say that would be the most difficult part, is reading those stories and have to live those stories with the women as they're writing, because a lot of them they call late, they upset, they can't finish, they don't know how they're gonna make it through just writing. And because you go through therapy, right? Like I did with my first memoir, Mountains Can't Rise Without Earthquakes. I went through therapy for 17 years, right? And I'm thinking I'm cured, honey. Okay, I done went through the church, I went through everything to get through the things that happened to me in my life. And then I started writing that book, and I had a nervous breakdown 3 months into writing that book, and I had to push that book aside, go back into therapy and back to my pastor for another 6 months before I could even come back and touch that book and finish it. And the only way I was able to finish it was to write poetry before each chapter to kind of relax me to be able to finish that book. So, yes, reading those chapters, reading and having to relive it.
So, what did the book teach you about yourself? And it could be the anthologies, or it could be maybe your own book? Because you said you published your own.
I did 26 solo projects. Writing in itself, I've always been a writer since the fifth grade. I wrote poetry from fifth grade all the way up until now. And writing is very therapeutic for me. But this level of writing has taught me the biggest lesson I think that this writing has taught me is my assignment. Before then, I was running a successful business. I had a cryo scan boutique and salon, but I just always felt like I was supposed to do something else because I tried CNA, I tried Department of Children and Family Services. I tried being an executive assistant for a nonprofit. I tried Lutheran Family Services. I've done all type of work, right? And the longest job I had before this was Department of Children and Family Services, right? I was there for 11 years. But I just always felt like I was supposed to do more. Like it was something else that was attached to my assignment in my life. And when I found out, I already knew that I had thyroid cancer, but when I found out I had lupus and fibromyalgia, and I ended up staying at home and just taking care of my kids, I just always felt like I was supposed to do more. I'm too young. I'm 33 years old and I'm not doing nothing. I just felt like I wasn't doing nothing. And now I know I was, right? And I am, because I'm a mom, and that's a job in itself. But I just always felt like I was supposed to do more. And I noticed that once I started writing, and then I started creating a space for writers, as far just like what you're doing now. I started off with my podcast, and then I went on into to be a visionary, and then I went on to being a publisher, and then I got my radio show. So I started doing all these things to create spaces, just same way that you're doing with me right now. And I found, like, you know what, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And because I was obedient, God has just blessed my life tremendously. Like, I have so many accolades now. I could sit down at 37, child, and be like, yep, if I don't do nothing else the rest of my life, my kids can look and say, my mom got her honorary doctors. My mom got a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. My mom was Miss Illinois. My mom did this. My mom did that. My mom got this. My mom not only did that for herself, but she took dozens of women with her, and that is healing in itself. That's what taught me. Yep, that's what it taught me.
Sounds good. That is great to hear. And I agree with you when you were speaking, because I feel the same way, like I want to do more.
Then it's by coincidence. Dani, I really feel like we are all here, and I know it sounds cliche, right? But we are all here and we have purpose. Everybody here has purpose. And a lot of times the enemy will try to come and distract us with all these things that's going on around us, because he don't want us to fulfill that assignment that God has attached. And we have people attached to us. This is real. We have people attached to us, and we don't understand why we are in that refiner's fire, why we are there, right? All we know is that we just going through all this stuff. But I've noticed when I wrote Mountains Can't Rise Without Earthquakes, which is my first memoir, right, that I wrote about my life. I wrote that 3 years ago. 3 years, first full book that I wrote. That book is still a bestseller on Amazon. It has never left the bestsellers rank in the top 100. It spent number one for 91 days in all three categories. That is proof that people, you never know who your life will touch, who you will touch. And those people that were constantly, and still to this day, constantly buying that book, still sending me emails, still inboxing me on Facebook telling me your book meant a lot. It showed me that, a hood girl like me, I ain't going through all of this for nothing. I'm coming out on the other side of through. I just truly want the best for people who publish with me. Right. And I also want the best for other women who are hearing your story, because if God brought you through that, you are the miracle that people need to see. Because I'm going to tell you, the things that I went through in my life, I thought that nobody saw me, but I always knew that God did. And Dani, nothing could tell me God wasn't there for me. No, nobody. I'm like, it's okay, because God see. That used to be my thing. Like, it's okay because God see everything. But see, now instead of saying it, I actually believe it. And when you believe that God got you covered, You could walk through whatever and not ever worry. Never. And I sleep. Look, somebody don't pay me what they owe me, or bills don't come, like, bills coming in and the bank account ain't matching up with the bills. I be like, yep, God gonna fix it. Because when you worry, that's a sin. You're supposed to know that God got you. You're supposed to know that. And when you know that and you speak that into existence, I'm telling you, I'd have been through so much that now life is peaceful. Mm-hmm. It's not saying that I don't go through things in life, but even when I go through things, I know God got a reason why. And he never fails to show me, right? My discernment is strong, but also God's plan for my life is so strong, and I'm so blessed to know what my purpose is now. Because now I know everything that's happening, like, yep, something else gonna happen now. And it's gonna do this. And it's gonna happen like this, because this is the way God says it's supposed to happen. Yeah. And a lot of times people say, well, how do you hear God? How do you know? Because it's not always a voice. It's life. The way that things are set up and the way things are happening. God talked to you through that. God may talk to you through a song. God may talk to you, Dani, through me right now. You never know what, who, when, or where, what tools God will use to talk to you. But all you got to do is listen, Linda, because he's going to show it to you.
Yes, he will. That's right. Speak your truth. Amen. So, what do you hope readers receive from reading the book?
You know what? From reading Women of the Waiting Room, I hope that they realize that they don't have to have survivor's remorse. Everything is happening according to God's plan. And I really hope that they can take some of these stories of survivor's remorse, take some of these stories that tell the cost of becoming, the price that people pay for their peace, the price that people pay for their, to stick with their assignment and not be distracted with things of the world and people who are not for them. A lot of times people want to hold on to toxicity and chaos because they're immune to that, and they're scared of stepping away from that. They're scared of moving away from people who no longer serve them. And they're scared because that's all they know. And I really want them to take away that I don't have to be afraid because God got you. God got you.
Thank you for sharing. That's a takeaway.
That is a great takeaway. A lot of times we are so afraid when we don't have to be, because nobody can beat God. No person, no spirit, no demonic entity. Nothing is more powerful than God. And when that's your daddy, you are straight. You straight.
Yes, that's right. Straight. So, Dr. Jacquiline, where can listeners connect and support you?
People can follow me on Facebook under Jacquiline Cox, and that's spelled JACQUILINE Cox, or facebook.com/listenlinda23. They can follow me on TikTok as Spiritual Sunbeam. They can follow me on Instagram, Spiritual Sunbeam 2020. And if they want to join the anthology, please inbox me on Facebook or go to my website, www.listenlindapresents1.com. Also have a special right now for any solo projects that sign on with me to publish their book. They will get a free New York Times Square billboard feature. That is something, if they sign up for the Legacy Edition or the Spotlight Edition, they do get a free New York Times Square billboard for promoting their book through Listen Linda Publishing.
So I want to thank you for joining me on tonight. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you, taking time out of your busy schedule.
Girl, thank you for having me, because, people be scared. I don't know why people don't invite me to their stuff. They say she don't need no promotion. She's a promoter, but I be need to get on to other audiences too. Sure, I need some people for this anthology. I got 5 more slots. It's only $175 to join. Come on, tell your story. And I take Afterpay and PayPal.
Oh, that's okay. You're gonna get some people. That's great. As an author myself, I will definitely support you.
Thank you. Girl, come on, girl. Yeah, come on over here. Come on over here to the Women of the Waiting Room. Girl, tell your story.
All right. Chapter for me, okay.
Served, honey, just for you.
I appreciate that.
No,
so I need everyone to like, follow, comment, and share. And again, I appreciate Dr. Jacquiline Cox for being on the show. And stay tuned for more things that are coming from Dr. Jacquiline.
A lot.
All right. And you have a good night.
You too.
Okay. Thank you.